Hi everyone, this is Nim Golkar. Welcome to the show. Today, our special guest is someone who takes the word resilience to a whole new level. She's a lady who has carved out a unique path for herself, overcoming challenges and obstacles along the way with a spirit of grit, determination, and optimism. I'm super excited to introduce to you all Dr. Sabrin Farooqui, who joins us on the show today. Sabrin, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Neem. Thanks a lot, and thanks for having me here.
I'm super excited to hear all about your incredible journey. So I suggest, why don't we start with you telling our viewers a little bit about who you are, what you do, so the essence of Sabrin Farooqui in a nutshell.
Yeah, sure. All right. So, I was born and brought up in Bangladesh. And then I came here as a student, as an international student in 2004. I completed my master's in University of New South Wales and then completed my PhD in education in Sydney University. So I started my life as an academic. So I used to teach in Sydney University part-time. Then I moved to public service, and I'm currently working for the Australian federal government and also teach sometimes in universities as sessional academic.
Wow, a woman who does many things. Now, I know you got the Local Woman of the Year award in 2018, and you're heavily involved in a lot of community work. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved and what motivates you to do what you do?
Well, yeah, I always wanted to get involved in community work because I wanted to give back to the society. So that was the motivation. But time was a bit of challenge because my son was born when just after I completed my PhD. Mm-hmm. So having a young family was, challenging, and I always worked full time. So, but at one stage I thought that okay, I could start it. So then I started. With my full-time job, I started community work by joining some organizations. So I joined an organization named Settlement Services International, and I joined as a volunteer. So I started helping refugees with job search, writing CVs, and preparing for interviews, those sort of things. Mm-hmm. But I always felt passionate for helping women. So that was one of the things I wanted to do as well. So from an organization named Shakti Australia, I started working for women empowerment. Mm-hmm. And I worked for raising awareness related to domestic violence, then helped them getting financially independent, dealt with domestic violence cases. So that is another area. Mm-hmm. And then one more area I felt passionate about and I started working on, that is helping local artists. And so what happens is I found a number of artists are here who are first-generation migrant. They find it hard to get settled here and take art as a profession, although they were professional artists back in their country. So I started, organizing exhibitions through some organizations like Bangla Hub, Australian South Asian Forum, and I'm still doing it. So what happens is it gives a platform to them and obviously encouragement and creates some opportunities in Australia. So these are the main things, and in this COVID-19 situation, I'm developing some projects for elderly people for their digital literacy, online mental health support. So these were the things I was doing through some organizations, but recently I have founded own organization. I'm one of the founding members of Cultural Diversity Network Incorporated. So I'm current president there. So that promotes cultural diversity, inclusion, and human rights. So this is the story of my community work.
Fabulous. What I love about the work you do, Sabrin, is, like you said, there's a lot of talent out there in the world, but what people lack very often is a platform, which is why what you're doing is noble work indeed. You're providing a platform for that talent to express itself. Now, not only community work, I also know that politics plays a huge part in your life. That's a big aspect of your life. So can you tell our viewers a little bit about how you got involved in politics?
Yeah, well, that is another important part of my life. So when I started working with various communities, I felt that our political organizations should represent the diversity of the people, and because if we have the representation of more diversity, it will lead to greater views, and that will eventually lead to better public policy outcome. So that is something that motivated me, and I joined Australian Labor Party because that reflects my values and principles, and I felt welcome there. So I joined there, and from a member, I became an activist. So I started working for the better policy of refugees and asylum seekers from Labour for Refugees. Then I joined union movement, and that was for rebuilding public sector capacity. Then also I was elected a member in the New South Wales Policy Forum, and I also ran for New South Wales Upper House election. So yeah, I got involved in politics.
One incredible journey, but I know it couldn't have been all smooth. So do you want to share with us maybe whether there were any difficulties along the way, any obstacles you might have faced?
Yeah, I mean, I am enjoying my journey in politics because it's giving me a platform where I can raise issues to the policymakers. But it was not an easy journey. It's still not easy because coming from a different background, I had to learn a lot. I'm still learning. Yeah. And the thing is, I was not familiar with the political structure, then party mechanism. So I had to study. Then I had to talk to people, I had to attend meetings, conferences, sometimes it's interstate. Having a young child, how hard it is, you know that. Yes. So it was hard. I will say that my learning curve is pretty steep. I'm still learning, I have a long way to go. But yeah, I had difficulty. But I should also mention that throughout this journey, I found some incredible souls, and they were so generous. They offered their help and showed eagerness in helping me.
What that shows is we need some good mentors along the way, good cheerleaders along the way. Without that, it's impossible.
Mentor
right?
is very important, yeah.
You do remember I said in your introduction that you take the term resilience to a whole new level. I'm sure the viewers will agree as well. Now, you're a mother, a wife, a daughter-in-law, and you're doing all these amazing things, right? So I'm sure our viewers are wondering, like I am, about how you manage your time, because there's only 24 hours in a day, and yet you're taking such huge strides in so many different areas. So can you share some secrets about how you manage your time so beautifully?
Yes, time management is very important, but very difficult too. Yes. We have to take some steps to manage time. First of all, I think we have to prioritize our work because a lot of things come in the way. We have to prioritize, and we should do the things we want to do rather than just being busy. So I get this question quite often, and I see people, they're just being busy. So it is a good question to ask whether you are doing what you want to do or you are just busy. Yeah. And this thing leads to whinging. Yes. In the end, we blame everything else in the world, So yeah, so finding out whether you are being, constructive and doing what you want to do, prioritizing, and I think distraction. Be careful about the distraction we have because it's all over there. But yeah, it is not easy. It is hard. Yeah. But taking that small step or small effort can make a significant impact on your life. So it is not very easy, I would say. Yeah.
I'm sure it's not. And like they say, being busy and being productive, two very different things. Yeah. Now, it has been an uphill struggle for a large part of, this whole journey. Were there times where you doubted yourself? Because I know a lot of people struggle with self-doubt. They want to achieve a lot of things, but the self-doubt sort of gets in the way. Did you ever face that? And if so, how did you overcome it?
I think having self-doubt is very natural. As human beings, we have it. I do have it.
Yeah.
But when I have the self-doubt, I think two things help me. One is talking to someone who knows about it,
Yeah.
and getting some constructive feedback, whether just to know whether I'm doing things right. That is one thing. The other thing is I look back. I look back and think about my experience and how I achieved small things. When I look back, that actually gives me the courage to move forward, because nothing was smooth in my life. So I overcame many difficulties. Those small successes and the process that helped me to overcome those difficulties, that gives me courage. So those two things I think helped me great. Yeah.
What I love about that, and I think it's a huge takeaway for all of us, is that we should learn to look back and pat ourselves on the back, you know.
Exactly, that is very important.
Instead of always worrying about, oh my goodness, I have so much more to go, look back and see how far you've come already.
Definitely. Yeah.
Now, I'm super curious to know, did you always have this ambition to do all this stuff that you're doing?
I had ambition, but not when I was a child, you know, because I see a number of children, like my son is 9 years old. He often talks about like his future, what he wants to be, has his aspiration. But I was at his age, and even when I was in high school, I used to suffer with lack of confidence. I suffered a lot, and I was afraid to dream. I had no aspiration, you know. But the important thing was I was aware of this shortcoming. That I didn't have confidence. So when I was a little bit older, then I started taking steps, which I still think that was a great thing I did. I started taking small steps, small success, and encouragement from family and friends around. That helped me a lot, and that helped me to come to this stage, and so have a bigger ambition. And ambition also changes. I mean, it's not the same all the time. You know, you dream of something when you're in high school, and then it keeps changing. But yeah, I mean, the ambition wasn't there all the time. I learned throughout the process.
You learned along the way. Which brings me to my next question. I know that there are a lot of women out there who look up to you and who aspire to do exactly what you're doing and follow your footsteps. How important is it to actually have your partner's support so that you can actually dream big?
Having partner support is very, very important. I can't stress it enough because it is a teamwork, right? And what happens is, I'll share it with you, I think you may relate it, because what happens in South Asian culture especially, that people think that wives are supposed to support husband, and if the husband supports, then it becomes a wow factor, you know, wow, your husband supports it, as if he's not supposed to support me, you know. But it is a teamwork. Husband and wife both should support each other. Everyone is busy. You know, in Australia, most of the couples, like, they work full-time. But it is the responsibility of both husband and wife to divide the work, take the responsibility. There are times when my husband has to do more work than me, but I also take the responsibility. So it's a turn-taking thing.
Absolutely.
And but we should think it is a teamwork, and we should overcome this stigma that wives are supposed to help, and that is very normal, but not the other way around, which is, absolutely a shame.
So which is why, ladies like you are paving the path for a brighter, more evolved future. So that's awesome. I totally agree with you. I think it's teamwork. And much as I agree that a wife must support her husband, I equally believe that a husband must support his wife. And it's the only way, we're going to move forward.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about something a little lighter. We've talked about politics, we've talked about community work, time management. Let's come to hobbies, because I'm sure a multi-talented lady like yourself must have some hobbies. So what are they?
Hobbies, I do love to do paintings. So I started with oil color. I do acrylic these days quite often. And I like to cook, occasional cooking, Then I love to bake cakes and design cakes. So I have a small boutique cake shop. But these are the things I occasionally do. I rarely get time. But, it's human nature that we push back things which are not urgent. So that happens with everyone, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it is very important to keep them alive. So I make sure that I allocate some time to do these things. So, these are the hobby. I love to do paintings, but it is so hard to get the time,
I'm so glad we're doing this chat today because I'm getting to know things about you I didn't even know, like the boutique cake shop. I mean, how fascinating is that?
I love to decorate cakes.
That's awesome. Now, I believe that you are one successful woman. And I know that, like I said earlier, a lot of people want to do probably what you're doing. What is that one piece of advice you would give to someone who wants to get ahead in life?
Oh, first of all, that's very nice of you to call me successful. I don't call myself successful yet.
You are.
But long way to go. But a piece of suggestion, I think it's very important to have aspiration. You can't be what you can't see. So it's very important to have dream. And if you have that aspiration, then set realistic target after talking to someone who knows about this field. So I will emphasize again about on having mentorship. It is very important. And even not formal mentorship, you need to talk to someone who knows about your area so that you can set a realistic target. And the most important thing is to take step. Take step rather than giving a chance to yourself to whinge in future. But in the end, I will say success is not guaranteed. No one can guarantee you, but at least you will not blame yourself in future for not doing something that could take you to somewhere you want to go. So shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among stars.
That's lovely. Like they say, dream big, but then you've got to wake up and actually take the action steps. You can't just keep dreaming, right?
Exactly.
Sabrin, it's been such a huge pleasure having you here on the show today. I can't let you go without actually letting our viewers know how they can contact you if they wish to. Sure.
They can contact me through my website. So there is a contact form, and the website address is www.sabrinfarooqui.com.au. So I am in all sorts of social media, and all the details are there on my website. My email address, my phone number, everything there. So I'll be happy to be contacted.
Fabulous. Well, it's been a huge pleasure, Sabrin. Thank you so much for today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Neem. You are one of my favorite writers. It's an honor to chat with you.
I've enjoyed myself. Thank you. Thank you, viewers. That's it for today, and I'll see you very soon with the next episode. Bye for now.